question that I really have here, Ravi, is that there are some individuals who've been able to reinvent themselves. How do you get millions of such people to be able to do that? So at some level, you keep hearing things like the conventional jobs are no longer there. You need to be able to be self-employed, gig economy for white-collar workers, white-collar stuff. But how do you get millions of people to learn and adapt along the way? So, for example, a parallel that's drawn is that the species that survives is the one that's, been able to adapt. But if you go back to evolution, the species that survived never consciously made an attempt at survival. It was just blessed with the right kind of genes. But human beings are very different. They need to consciously adapt. But how do you do that? Because it's so difficult. I mean, you can take example of some individuals who've been able to adapt. But how do you do that for millions of people?
Well, that's a good sales pitch for the book. Read the book. That's what this book is about. So if you see the cover of it, there's a little dinosaur in the middle. There's a green T-Rex. And T-Rex here is a metaphor for exactly that, which is an animal that was unable to adapt to extreme and sudden change and became extinct. Then we look at us. We're the opposite end. We are the sort of successors of that experiment.
Right, the mammals.
Our ancestors were able to adapt to the same shock, and here we are. So we're living now through a period of extreme change. I write repeatedly in the book that the world will change more in this century than in all of human history.
Right.
And that's both good news and bad news. So much change throws up opportunities.
Correct.
And it also is an adaptive challenge. So if you can adapt, you'll flourish. If you can't adapt, you're going to suffer unbelievably. What's it going to take to learn to be on the right side of this equation?
Right.
Well, first thing is a mindset. The second is a set of skills. And then some approaches. And so what I've tried to do in this book, Hari, thank you for this opportunity to make the pitch, is try to unpack that in a series of chapters, at least providing people, shocking them into thinking about these issues, because a lot of people right now are just sleepwalking their way through life and hoping it'll turn out all right. And I think that is downright dangerous. I think it's important every one of us understands that the present and the future is distinctly different from the past, and it's going to require very different mindset and skills to flourish.
Is this need to adapt, the pressure to adapt, the urgency with which we need to adapt, how important is that? Do people like all of us, working for companies like, let's say, Bigbasket or many of the Tata companies, working as a professional, how important is it to be able to adapt? How realistic is that pressure to adapt?
You're going to have to adapt, whether you want to, whether you like to or not. Life is going to hurl thunderbolts at all of us, and we are going to be forced. Now we can do it effectively and joyously. We can do it proactively or reactively. Those are the choices we have, but we're all going to adapt. And we think about the events of the last few years as sort of aberrations. Oh, there was this pandemic. It hasn't happened for 100 years. Unbelievably, you've got this war in Ukraine, and we don't know where it's going. Could it end up as the Third World War? Entirely feasible at this stage. And the point is, this is the way it's going to be. It's going to be lurching from one shock to the other. Yesterday I tweeted a piece that said that both the poles, the Arctic and the Antarctic, are 70 degrees warmer than it should be at this time of the year. That is an unbelievable number, okay? All the models, weather forecasting models are wrong. 70 degrees warmer than it should be, okay? So how is climate change going to impact all of us? So we don't know. So all we can comfortably predict is we're going to lurch from shock to event to these sort of issues. You may think life is comfortable in Bigbasket till you don't have a job at Bigbasket. Okay, and then you're going to be forced to be self-employed entrepreneur, or you can prepare yourself for this.
How